Um, really, the turning point for me in my experience in Iraq was an incident that occurred when I was off duty at night. There was a platoon in my company who were, how should I put this? They were the hardcore platoon. You know, every unit has one platoon that is more extreme than the rest. This platoon happened to have a squad that was on, well, they called it an ambush, but really what it was is they were hiding out in the farms in the surrounding area outside the perimeter, and they were trying to detain and stop people who were out past curfew. So they were out there one night, and apparently a farmer was on his property. I think it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and you know, electricity was intermittent, and he was out there trying to work on his farm, work on a pump or something. They told him to halt and stop. He panicked and ran. They opened fire, and they killed this individual. The next day, Civil Affairs came and spoke with us and said, as a company, and said, we are not going to pay any benefit to this family. They also informed us that his brother was a close ally of us, had up until this time had been working with us, and was a respected leader of the local community, and that this individual that we killed also had 14 children. The civil affairs officer suggested that we take up a collection and donate $1 or $2 apiece to the family, and that he thought that that would go a long way in helping to ease the family's suffering. There's 125 members of a rifle company, roughly, so you're talking about anywhere probably between $125 and $150. In reality, I don't think anyone donated any money. On September 11th, 2003, late afternoon, early evening, I was assigned guard tower duty on the perimeter, facing a Wahhabist enclave of Balad. We all knew that this was a Wahhabi neighborhood. Osama bin Laden is a Wahhabist. I witnessed a sustained shelling of this neighborhood that lasted well over an hour. I don't know if the neighborhood was evacuated prior to the shelling. I don't know if there were any casualties. All I know is that it was the only civilian area that I witnessed shelled the entire time that I was at Balad. Oftentimes, we would be called out as a quick reaction force to respond to incidents in the town of Balad. And on these patrols through the town, my squad leader would oftentimes entertain himself by shooting the local animals, including dogs that were tied up in people's front yards. There was one occasion when he started shooting dogs. The lieutenant came over the radio and said, what's going on? Why are you firing? What's happening? And he, indicated that he was just shooting dogs. And my lieutenant replied back, well, that's okay, but just from now on, let me know that you're going to do that before you do it. And finally, this is probably the hardest incident for me to talk about, so excuse me. One morning, a few months prior to me leaving, I was on a post which was a last security post behind the front gate. In other words, I was manning a machine gun that was there to ensure that if anyone managed to get past the front gate, that they wouldn't actually get inside the post. It was very early in the morning, and I was haggard and actually not in a very good mood. And I saw a Humvee come through the gate, and it was towing a blue mini pickup truck. Those are very common in Iraq. And from a distance, I couldn't really tell what was going on. And as they approached closer, it appeared that the pickup truck was riddled with bullets and shrapnel. I think one of the tires was flat. And as they pulled past me, there was apparently what had happened. There was an attack on a convoy earlier that morning using this pickup truck. And as they pulled past me, I realized that the pickup truck was full of dead insurgents that had been killed in this attack. They had obviously been engaged with large caliber weapons, probably Mark 19s, 50 caliber. There were several corpses that were decapitated. They had large holes through their bodies. I'll never forget this, there was a very young PFC, I believe. He was standing in the back of the pickup truck, and as they rolled by, he lifted one of the decapitated heads up in front of me, and he basically said, you know, we really, in much rougher language than this, we really screwed these guys up, didn't we? And there was another enlisted member in the back of the truck with him, and they were celebrating on top of these bodies that were piled up in the back. You know, and these insurgents didn't appear to me to look like, you know, the hardened terrorist that everyone, you know, says that they are. These were mostly teenage boys and young men, looked like they were from the local community. And finally, just to wrap things up, I want to take this time to apologize to the Iraqi people for the things that you know I helped to do, and the actions that people in my unit and myself did while I was there. Thank you.